builds cars that look like they were designed by engineers who had already built an F1 car and then decided to make it street legal. The Aventador looked like a racing prototype with a number plate. The Huracan sounds at full throttle the way most people imagine a racing car should sound. The Revuelto corners with aerodynamic forces that most road drivers will never fully exploit. And Lamborghini has been building cars like this for 62 years and has never once committed to Formula One, not with a factory team, not as a constructor, not as a serious engine supplier to a competitive team, not with the full institutional commitment that the question of their absence implies they should have made. While Ferrari has been in Formula One since the very first championship race in 1950, while Mercedes, Renault, Honda, and now Audi have committed billions to the sport, Lamborghini has watched from the outside and built some of the most visually dramatic cars in automotive history, without competing in the most visually dramatic motorsport in the world. And today I am going to decode exactly why. Because the answer, which starts with a broken clutch, involves one of the greatest founder feuds in automotive history, and reveals one of the most economically intelligent strategic decisions any luxury car manufacturer has ever made. The broken clutch that started everything. Here is where the Lamborghini story begins, and where the relationship between Lamborghini and Ferrari was permanently defined in a single conversation. Ferruccio Lamborghini, a wealthy Italian entrepreneur who had built a successful tractor manufacturing company after World War II, owned several Ferraris as personal vehicles in the early 1960s, and experienced a recurring problem with the clutch mechanism in one of them. The clutch components in the Ferrari, Ferruccio believed, were identical to clutch components used in his own tractors, and he felt that Ferrari could solve the problem by using a better specification of the same component. He arranged a meeting with Enzo Ferrari and told him so. Enzo Ferrari's response, which has been quoted so many times in automotive history that it has become the founding mythology of an entire brand, was essentially this: a man who makes tractors has no business telling me how to build a sports car. And Ferruccio Lamborghini, who was a rich man, a technically sophisticated engineer, and a man with the kind of Italian pride that does not easily absorb a public dismissal, went home to Sant'Agata Bolognese, 12 miles from Maranello, and founded Automobili Lamborghini in 1963, and spent the next decade building cars that were systematically better than the Ferraris he had been told he was unqualified to criticize. And the economic consequence of Enzo Ferrari's dismissal of a tractor manufacturer is a company that in 2026 generates approximately 2.6 billion euros in annual revenue, and has never needed Formula One to build one of the most valuable automotive brands on earth. Why Formula One was always Ferrari's territory. Here is the economic and cultural reality that explains why Lamborghini's absence from Formula One is a strategic choice rather than a capability limitation. Formula One, in the Italian automotive culture where both Ferrari and Lamborghini were born, is Ferrari's sport. It has been since 1950, and the relationship between Ferrari, the brand, and Formula One, the sport, is so deeply embedded in Italian automotive identity, so completely interwoven in the mythology of what Ferrari means and why Ferrari commands the prices it charges, that Lamborghini entering Formula One would not differentiate Lamborghini from Ferrari. It would subordinate Lamborghini to Ferrari's narrative, because in Formula One, Ferrari arrived first. Ferrari has the most championships. Ferrari has the most history. And any Lamborghini Formula One team would always be compared to Ferrari's Formula One team, in a competition where Ferrari has a 75-year head start. And Lamborghini's strategy since 1963 has been exactly the opposite of competing on Ferrari's terms. It has been to create a space where Lamborghini defines the rules and Ferrari cannot simply outdo it by pointing to greater history. The F1 economics that proved the decision was correct. Here is the financial analysis of Formula One team ownership that we decoded in an earlier video on this channel. And that shows why Lamborghini's absence from Formula One is not just strategically rational, but economically optimal. The Formula One cost cap that came into effect in 2021 sets a maximum of $145 million in annual team spending on car development and operations. But as we explained, that $145 million is the floor that competitive teams are trying to reach, not the ceiling they're trying to stay under. A midfield Formula One team spends approximately $215 million annually when driver salaries, factory operations, and all non-cap items are included, and earns approximately $170 million from prize money, sponsorship, and commercial distribution, generating an annual deficit of approximately $45 million that the team owner must fund from personal resources or additional sponsorship. Lamborghini's total annual revenue is approximately 2.6 billion euros. An F1 team deficit of $45 million represents approximately 1.7% of total revenue, which is manageable. But the strategic question is not whether Lamborghini can afford Formula One. It is whether Formula One is the best use of that 1.7% of revenue. And the answer, when compared to what Lamborghini actually spends on motorsport, is almost certainly no. The GT racing economics that work better than F1, here's the motorsport program that Lamborghini actually runs. And that generates better economic returns than a Formula One program would at the same investment level. The Lamborghini Super Trofeo, a one-make racing series using modified Huracan road cars prepared for competition, operates globally in Europe, North America, Asia, and the Middle East, and generates revenue for Lamborghini by selling the race-prepared cars to the customer teams and drivers who compete in the series. A Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2 race car costs approximately $350,000. And the approximately 240 drivers who participate in the global Super Trofeo series collectively represent approximately $84 million in vehicle purchases, plus the ongoing parts and service revenue from running those cars throughout the season. And Lamborghini's GT3 program, which supplies modified racing versions of the Huracan and Revuelto to customer teams competing in professional GT racing championships globally, generates additional vehicle sale revenue at approximately $500,000 to $650,000 per car, with dozens of cars sold annually. Lamborghini earns money from motorsport by selling racing cars, rather than spending money on motorsport by running a Formula One team, and the economic model of being paid by your racing program rather than paying for it is dramatically more favorable than any Formula One participation could provide at equivalent investment levels. The Audi Formula One connection that gives Lamborghini everything it needs. Here's the economic arrangement that gives Lamborghini access to Formula One technology and brand halo, without contributing to the cost of Formula One participation at any level. Audi AG, the Volkswagen Group subsidiary that owns Lamborghini, entered Formula One as a powertrain supplier in partnership with the Sauber team. Rebranded as Audi F1 from the 2026 season, Audi is spending hundreds of millions of euros to develop and supply Formula One powertrains. And the engineering knowledge, the material science, the electronics and software expertise that Audi accumulates through that program is available throughout the Volkswagen Group, including to Lamborghini's engineering team. Lamborghini effectively participates in the technological benefits of Formula One through Audi's investment, without contributing to the cost, and the brand association with Formula One technology through the Volkswagen Group's collective participation is communicated to Lamborghini's customers through the marketing connection between VW Group's motorsport programs and the road vehicles it produces. This arrangement, where Lamborghini receives the technology and brand benefit of Formula One participation at zero direct cost, because its parent company bears the expense, is the most economically efficient possible relationship with the sport, and it is only available to a brand that is part of a group large enough to make that investment independently. The 60-year brand decision that proved itself. Here is the economic verdict on 62 years of Lamborghini absence from Formula One. In 1963, Ferrari dismissed Ferruccio Lamborghini as a tractor farmer, and Ferruccio built a company that in 2026 generates 2.6 billion euros in annual revenue, with operating margins estimated at approximately 18 to 22%, producing annual operating income of approximately 500 to 600 million euros from approximately 10,000 cars per year, at average transaction prices of approximately 260,000 euros, without ever winning a Formula One championship, without ever finishing a Formula One season, without ever hiring a Formula One driver on a factory contract. Lamborghini's competitive advantage against Ferrari, the brand that dismissed its founder, has never been established on the Formula One grid. It has been established in every other dimension of automotive culture, in the visual drama of the Miura and the Countach and the Diablo, in the engine sounds that have defined what excess sounds like for 6 decades, in the specific combination of outrageous design and Italian craftsmanship that gives Lamborghini its irreplaceable market position, and in the deliberate choice not to compete on Ferrari's home ground, where Ferrari will always have the historical advantage, but to compete on terms that Lamborghini defined for itself in a garage in Sant'Agata Bolognese, 12 miles from Maranello, where a tractor manufacturer decided to build better sports cars than a man who had told him not to. Jake watches a Lamborghini Huracan drive past on the street, listens to the engine at full throttle on an on-ramp, and wonders why a car that sounds and looks like this has never competed in Formula 1, and then understands that the absence is not a gap in Lamborghini's history. It is the definition of Lamborghini's strategy. You have been decoded. If this video made you understand Lamborghini's F1 absence as an economic choice rather than a historical accident, subscribe to Money Decoder 3004 every single week. We decode the economic decisions behind the automotive brands and motorsport stories that most people experience as fans, and most people never fully understand as business. Simply, honestly, and clearly, drop a comment below. Do you think Lamborghini should be in Formula 1? Or is their GT racing strategy the economically correct decision? Tell me below. I read every single comment, and I will see you in the next decode.